It's for for a higher for 1 GH, and then our first time I buy so I need no book coin so now I didn't know subscriber my seven news be no she be a obtain notification phone so I wish I finish my visa share. I'm more than for so any ability for me and some thing. Sam George any Yebeka NPP I friend honorable a chinia a amidu edino say timan can yam of anche. I just want to share a TV station so I just say. A Metro TV so na ne seminar to more cano a video e kwa kwhwe just say Sam George any sa NPP MP just say fani chinia amidui I some encounter in a small misunderstanding be ekofa entokwa kakra bi ba a TV station so just say beka sena ne senesi pushi beka NPP MP no then wa hard punch pan just or ama beka NPP MP na just say no untimi kwambo ye de enkasa I just say NPP MP can once me on a deputy sanitation minister I just say beka Sam George de eguna ni masepa after that no then and o expose on one kasa criminality that say oh yeah ewa bemu ati se beka NPP MP no as of fambo kakra na say no as we speak right now no my update be about LGBTQ+ update so no I moko san demonstration be any other just one no about bontia be expose beka Attorney General Godfrey Dame any beka Chief Justice for no get to corner so in similar to their edifa esa niema ekoso court no apart from say LGBTQ+ no any name be any kwase nkoyede oye e court no kam ninkuti update be a course so and demonstration no any some serious and beka fight BAC was some TV so just between Sam George and NPP MP a friend honorable chinia amido just any some talk am ninkuti ye ba ne dem
parties to a contract have obligations. You have an LLM, fantastic, thank you. So if you understand better contract law and that when you do a contract between two parties, there are obligations of both parties. I'm asking you, state one obligation of government in the contract you claim you signed with Jospon to build the waste management plants. Tell us one obligation of government. Tell us.
What do you mean by Sam George? Are you saying that you have no knowledge?
This is your deputy minister for sanitation.
Sam George,
the contract you signed. Stop. State one obligation of government. One obligation of government.
Stop this character of undermining. I don't like it.
Am I undermining you?
Don't refer to you Ghanaians. That is your deputy minister. What do you mean by that?
Are you not paid by Ghanaians taxes?
Are you not also paid by Ghanaian taxes?
And I do my work in parliament.
And I do my work too.
And I'm asking you, as part of your work, tell me one term in the contract.
Are you here to subject me to questions? Is that your role?
Oh.
All right. Okay, so let's move on.
Are you here to subject me to questions?
They don't want to answer the Ghanaian people.
Let's move on.
They've done nothing.
Yesterday,
you have done something.
You were part of what do you march for?
Okay. So
you're not patient enough to wait for the courts?
No, Randy, when the Chief Justice as head of the panel is actively working to frustrate the expeditious delivery of justice, we have a right as citizens to demand that she does her job. You see the way I've demanded of Chinia that he must do his job. It's the same way. The Chinia is not different from the Chief Justice. He's paid, or myself. We are all paid by the taxpayers. The Family Values March, and to the tens of thousands of people who poured out on the streets yesterday, clergymen. You had Muslim imams. You had Christian bishops, Bishop Ᵽuňches, Bishop Selassie, Genesari, Remonakwa. I mean, a number of men of God, a constellation of men of God there. You had Numo Belinfo, and I was shocked. Numo Belinfo is very strong. He walked all the way with us.
So that's the march?
Yes. Okay. He walked all the way with us, from the start to the end. And Randy, it was just something else.
Where was the starting point?
We started from Obra Sport, went all the way to the Farisco traffic light. From Farisco, we took a 10, went through TUC all the way to the Law House. The Office of the Attorney General presented a petition there. And then from there, we continued all the way to the Supreme Court and ended up there. I mean, it was beautiful. My brother, Honorable Alassane Tuini, who is one of the signatories to the Family Values Bill, and Honorable Rita Odolesowa were also present, and it was
my MP.
Yes. I mean, she was there. She's also a signatory to the bill. Arise Ghana was there, Concerned Drivers Association, the Advocates for Christ Coalition of Muslim Organizations Ghana, the National Coalition on Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values was also present. And Randy, we proceeded in a peaceful manner. But on the substantive
so let me ask you.
Yes.
You took your matter to Parliament.
Yes.
This thing has gone on for well over 2 years.
3.5 years.
3.5 years. You took your matter to Parliament. The issue is ended up in the courts.
Yes.
Cease and desist. So he's now in the courts. What do you march for?
Okay. So
you're not patient enough to wait for the courts?
No, Randy, when the Chief Justice, as head of the panel, is actively working to frustrate the expeditious delivery of justice, we have a right as citizens to demand that she does her job. You see the way I've demanded of Chinia that he must do his job. It's the same way. Chinia is not different from the Chief Justice. He's paid, or myself. We are all paid by the taxpayers. And so we have a job to do. The Chief Justice has, this was supposed to happen on the 18th of September, and then it was postponed, on the 17th of September, then was postponed to the 8th of October. On the 11th of September, the Chief Justice wrote to me, explaining that it was not her fault, and that's why the case has delayed. Randy, she's held 2 press conferences, issued 2 press statements, and written to me once. But that doesn't change our mind on the fact that the Chief Justice has the power to proceed with the case. There are 2 cases, and let me just explain this for the public. There are 2 cases before the court. The Richard Elaskai case and the Amanda Odoi case. And in both instances, you've got an injunction suit against Parliament and then a substantive case. That says that our bill is the bill that has been passed by Parliament is unconstitutional. The injunction is what is preventing Parliament from complying with Article 106, 6 and 7 of the Constitution to transmit the bill to the President. Now, that case has been fully heard. All submissions completed in the Supreme Court. In fact, a date of 17th July was given by the Chief Justice to pronounce judgment on the injunction case, so that Parliament can either proceed with transmitting it, or if the Supreme Court thinks that they are going to depart from their ruling in the Ᵽuňches versus the Attorney General, they would state that Parliament cannot transmit. The Chief Justice comes and says, well, we're not going to do that. We want to hear the whole case before we rule on the injunction case, effectively giving us an injunction, technically putting an injunction in place. She claims she's going to have an expedited trial. That's what she said. She said she'll have an expedited trial. Randy, it's been 10 weeks, 10 solid weeks since we finished that hearing on the 17th of July. There's been no indication, nothing whatsoever from the Attorney General or the Chief Justice. And now the Chief Justice writes to me and says that she's waiting for the Attorney General to file, and that even the plaintiffs have not necessarily filed all of their documentation. Randy, I'll give you two cases that show that the position of the Chief Justice is not entirely noble and correct. First and foremost, in the case of Roxanne Dafiameko versus the President or the Attorney General, where Roxanne went to court asking for an injunction to be placed on Parliament from hearing and approving the ministers for President Akufo-Addo. The case was filed by the lawyers. I'll just get you the date. But when the lawyer filed the case, the Chief Justice on that same day caused for them to send to the lawyers. The bailiff went to a lawyer, even with his absence, a notice for hearing the next day. So Roxanne's lawyer filed the case. The bailiff was sent that same day that the case was going to be heard the next day, because it affected President Akufo-Addo. So the Chief Justice acted with expedition and immediately demanded that the next day they should come to court. When they went to court, the AG had not put in any defense. The Chief Justice heard the case that day and dismissed the case. Within 48 hours, in fact, 24 hours of filing, the AG had given a notice of hearing and dismissed the case. Again, when Bernard Ahiafo and 2 others from Parliament went to court and filed a suit against the Attorney General, once again, for granting of exemptions in Parliament, the Chief Justice ordered, they filed around 10 a.m., by 2 p.m., they had received a notice of hearing for the next day. When they went to court, in court, that was when the Attorney General brought his response. The Chief Justice asked him to serve a copy to the plaintiff's lawyer, Ahiafo's lawyer, in court. And the lawyer said, "Oh, my lord, if they've now brought me their defense, I will go and study it." She said, "No, you have brought the case. You know what it is about. This is their response. Read it. I'm going I'm suspending the court for an hour. Read it. I'm coming back and make your argument." And she did that. Within an hour, she came back, forced the lawyer, and I don't want to mention the lawyers in these 2 cases, but forced the lawyer to read the case.
Why don't you want to mention that name?
Okay, I can. The first case was by the Nipapo Samoado, was the lawyer in the Roxon case. In this particular case I'm talking about, where she asked him to sit in the court and read, was Samson Ladi Ayenini. Forced them to sit there and came back and dismissed the case. Again in 24 hours. So if the Chief Justice, when it affects President Akufo-Addo's government and the Attorney General is against the Attorney General, she's able to fix a notice of hearing same day. She's able to compel that the case should be heard the next day. And whether the Attorney General has filed or whether defendants have filed, she proceeds to hear the case and gives judgment. In this case, how is she telling us that the rules of court states that within 14 days of the filing of something you must respond, and 65 days on, the Attorney General has not responded? She says she's waiting for the Attorney General to respond. And Randy, I will be concerned as a sponsor of the bill at the attitude and actions of the Chief Justice on this matter, when I take into cognizance the statements made by the Deputy Attorney General.
Abuja Foneti for in your update to say Baker some George Aiden Ababonte really about LGBTQ plus to say one seminar then. Sorry Ghana to say any because I go for the Ekushia some interview be just one interview no or can say it is bound to happen no I just say summer a day more me pa just say no ama a beka is a one semester sorry beam ama some George and that a year beka arise Ghana for any Ghana youth for United Oma Bochinku Aqua protest Kakapa de tia a golf a dame any a beka a Chief Justice a get to corner. Just a information now a beka a Sam George Ababontin Abbeville Niema Koso. Just the or more person maiden or more be disasem now. Just a more person year more hidey behind a cofano yam maiden. Akofa de yana on a terminate a query, send a moment on meeting markets or Yakofa no eden with me this same way because ye nim Niema a wasa a LGBTQ plus na just say I won't say me now by a parliament is a meeting or more a passes saying I just say was saying Akofa de eden in Sashas and was in sign up to now on your own shino. And as I'm doing my update. You see some George any NPP MP na just say go home video kakano I just say every can work good any massive no cause we no na we need the object to be a Ghana for a day task PS if you can share in sema or can Ghana for share niema o ye can create Ghana for so intimate can Ghana for and I just say like who beat you run the bush near that I just say yes some George a good any massive and just say yes and good. In same brain, we can't just be to my dad share your comment searching. Share now for the more than for no level so any being share. I have for 1G Akroma.